That won't be necessary, Shuga stammered. I don't want him dead. You sure? If you want the problem taken care of. I'm sure, Shuga interrupted. Yoku shrugged. You're the boss. Then he grinned. Until the Holy Sage decides he likes Gakkai better than you, huh? Better watch your back, Star Reader. He cackled and walked out with a quick flippant wave and a toodles, bruh. Shuga stared after him. Suddenly his heart was pounding. No, the hunters clearly weren't a good solution to this problem. He would have to deal with it himself. Shuga and Gakkai were both apprentices to the Holy Sage, so they often served shifts together atop the Star Tower. Usually, Shuga kept to his side, while Gakkai kept to his. The only speaking they did at those times was related to portents and omens. But it seemed that Shuga would have to talk to Gakkai tonight. He really didn't want to. Shuga was the sort of man who enjoyed confrontations, especially since the rumors Gakkai was spreading were so vulgar. I'm sorry, Shuga was not the sort of man who enjoyed confrontations. Big difference. Big difference. What's that? Didn't quite catch that. Gakkai grinned. Oh, that's right. You didn't say anything because I have rendered you speechless. Shuga shook his head. What's your deal, man? First the jam in my socks, now these absolutely shameless lies you've been promulgating? If this is about the Holy Sage's successor, I have to wonder why you're not doing the same thing to Ozuru. Do you hate me or something? Gakkai snorted, like Ozuru has any chance of being picked. He might. Oh, come on, nobody even knows who he is. Shuga started to protest, but Gakkai cut him off. Seriously, can you even tell me one thing about him? We've been working with the guy for years. Can you describe him? Do you know what his political stances are? Hobbies? Interests? Shuga scowled. He's bald. I mean, maybe you're right about that, and maybe you aren't. I literally can't remember. And I bet you can't either. Okay, fine. So Ozuru stands about as much chance of becoming the next Holy Sage as Prince Chagum's Naji bird. May he rest in peace. So what? Why sabotage me? Hello, said Gakkai. Everyone loves you. If this comes down to a popularity contest, and you know it will, then it's going to be Holy Sage Shuga. That is something I just cannot allow to happen. Shuga glared at him. Gakkai glared back. Well, I don't care what you do. Neither will Hibitonen. Do your worst, Gakkai. It's not going to make a whit of difference. Gakkai's lips curled into a smile. Keep telling yourself that, Mr. Perfect. We'll see what happens when the Mikado hears about the things you've been up to in your free time. You wouldn't. Gakkai sniffed, his face contorting into a malicious sneer. Want to bet? Bet? Shuga asked. Are you saying you can be bribed not to tell? You have something I want. I have something you want. Shuga narrowed his eyes. What do you want? I want you to make me Crown Prince Chagum's tutor. If I can take your place at court, I'll have a chance of usurping your role. And what do I get in exchange? The preservation of your own reputation, Gakkai said. You might still become the Holy Sage, or I might. All I'm asking for is a more level playing field. Shuga considered. You want to take my place as Crown Prince Chagum's tutor in exchange for quashing these rumors? No, I can't let you do that. I won't. The emphasis is there. I didn't make it up. Yeah, but the decision's not up to you, is it, Shuga, my boy? Gakkai grinned devilishly. Let's see what the Mikado thinks after he hears about your extracurricular activities. And we'll see what the Holy Sage thinks when I tell him what you're plotting. Before either man could say more, however, someone cleared their throat, and both turned, startled, to see none other than Crown Prince Chagum, standing just a few feet away, flanked by his attendants. Your Highness! Both Gakkai and Shuga cried, hastily bowing. Which is hilarious, because when the scene began, they were at the top of the Star Tower, but I suppose they've moved. Chagum raised his eyebrows. So you want to be my tutor too, huh? Gakkai winced. You heard that, Your Highness? Every word. Shuga, what you do in your free time doesn't concern me. Gakkai, I'd thank you not to spread rumors about my current tutor, and especially not about me. Is that clear? He heard those rumors too? Gakkai thought, mortified. How about this? Y'all can be co-teachers. I think I'd like a little fresh perspective. Shuga and Gakkai both gave him horrified looks. In fact, Chagum went on, why stop at just two? I understand some of the nobility have a different tutor for every subject. I'd like you to arrange this, Shuga. You've set my curriculum since I was small. You know who to enlist to tutor me. Perhaps even some who are not star readers. I expect the new tutoring roster to be completed and ready in 2 days. Then you can begin your co-teaching. As the prince walked off, both Gakkai and Shuga remained bowing, frozen. It was bad enough to be rivals, but Shuga shuddered. Cooperate? It was like a nightmare. I get to choose which subject I teach, said Gakkai. Fine, Shuga practically growled, but you also have to help me pick teachers for the other subjects. Oto the archivist? Ozuru? He sighed. There really weren't a lot of options. Gakkai shook his head. This is all your fault. By Torgal, this is the worst compromise in the history of compromises. The compromise was that Gakkai had to play in a theater scene. To be honest, he had no clue in how this solution could resolve the entire problem. He needed to play the role of a selfish little prince betrothed to the daughter of King Mon, called Ribbon-chan. The invisible servants put the costume on him for a try. Strangely, Chagum begged Jin to bring Balsa, Tonda, and even Torogai for the role scene. He even asked if her little sister at heart, Alika-chan, could be there. But when he received the message she was actually in Kanbal, he dropped the idea to give her a role in the scene. Chagum was sad, but at least Balsa was there to escort safely Prince Gakkai to Princess Ribbon-chan. They had to play the theater scene for the summer solstice, in front of everyone. By the time Shuga and Gakkai played in that scene, they had learned how to cooperate, at least temporarily, for the sake of the Crown Prince, which was Chagum's true desire, making them act on stage together. But the summer solstice festival was still some months off, and in the meantime, both Gakkai and Shuga were both set to be Crown Prince Chagum's tutors. The matter of the Crown Prince's love was still not resolved. You see, we've had a glimpse into the future. First thing was first, the tutoring nonsense. Gakkai had wanted to be Chagum's political theory instructor, but Shuga was not about to give that up. Instead, he had yielded religion to Gakkai, who said Shuga was too liberal with Tendo doctrine to be a religion teacher. He was probably right about that. Shuga made a list of the other topics and made Gakkai sit down with him and brainstorm who should be recruited to teach what. The list was political theory and rhetoric, Shuga; history, religion, Gakkai; art and calligraphy, Yun; literature and poetry, math and economics; geography, languages, Roten, Congolese, Sangalese, and Talsh; military science. You're going to let that creepy deviant teach his highness? Gakkai sniffed, looking at the list. Why not? He's a spectacular artist, and his handwriting is par excellence. And I suppose you'll get those other murderers and spies to help with Prince Chagum's education. They are noblemen of high regard, Gakkai, Shuga growled. Why are you making this so difficult? Because I hate you, said Gakkai cheerily. Obviously, General Rado needs to be the military sciences director. I was actually thinking Admiral Tosa. It's not naval science, you idiot. And for history, it should be Oto the archivist. Well, I can agree there. Shuga wrote in Oto's name. I think the hunters all speak foreign languages to fluency. I bet I could find language instructors among them. Fine, said Gakkai. I won't tattle on you for having bloodthirsty assassins teach the prince if you put down General Rado for military science. He stuck out his tongue at Shuga. So mature. Shuga grumbled several insults at Gakkai, but he wrote down Rado. He mused aloud. There's a commoner boy the Crown Prince once knew who would make an excellent economics teacher. You're not letting a street kid become one of Prince Chagum's tutors, said Gakkai with a look of horror. Nobility? Fine. Shopkeepers? Heck no. Shuga considered. He was, himself, a commoner. Children who were educated in the Star Palace had the potential to become master star readers if they worked hard enough. He didn't see an issue with Chagum being taught by the most qualified person, regardless of status. Gakkai was different. He was noble by birth and shared the Mikado's prejudices against corruption by the lower classes. Shuga reflected that this was about compromise. They were both tutoring Crown Prince Chagum now, so both their views needed to be taken into account. Very well, Shuga said. In the spirit of compromise, Shuga decided not to bring Toya and Saya to the palace as teachers, but that didn't mean he couldn't use their lessons in Crown Prince Chagum's instruction. Saya was very happy to give lessons and advice about acting in a theater scene, Toya knew Shuga a bit thanks to his meetings with Torogai, sometimes in their shop called the Anything Shop. But for Saya, it was the first time Shuga got in touch with her. Remember, Shuga-san, the most important lesson keep in mind is to have fun, she said. Having fun in which way? Shuga asked. Chagum must feel he wants to participate. He must not feel forced at all. Shuga took notes in his book. He tried to trust Saya and Toya about their experience. It would have been easier if he could bring them to the palace, but he needed to keep the compromise. He stayed up late that night. He didn't see the hours pass. He jumped when he fell face to face with Mon. What are these lessons? Are they for the Crown Prince's instruction? Mon asked, looking over the sheet Shuga was writing the lessons of Toya and Saya on.